Hi everyone, it's Zoe here again from Living with a Sleeve. I just wanted to get in onto Facebook Live today, really to have a talk with you about eating out after weight loss surgery and especially a sleeve. So what I might do is just really have a chat, wait a little bit of time for a few people to log on, so then hopefully we've got a few questions that I can answer at the end as well. I hope you're finding all of the Facebook Live videos useful. I'm also posting them to my blog as well as a blog a week about a specific topic, like whether it's eating before surgery or eating after surgery, or practical tips and tricks. I'm going to have some recipes up live on the blog as well in the next few weeks, so keep an eye out for those. They're more things that, you know, recipes that friends or clients have sort of, I guess, told me that work really well for them after the surgery, and little ways around cooking and preparing food, because obviously portion size is a big thing, so you need to change the way that you cook after a sleeve, because if you are still cooking in the same portion, you're going to be wasting a lot of food. So lots of tips and tricks coming up about food and recipes and cooking on the blog. What I wanted to really talk to you today about was something that comes up often in the clinic, and it came up again today, just how to manage eating out after a sleeve gastrectomy. Obviously portion size is a big issue, so you can only fit about a cup of food in. That's about this sort of size, like a ramekin sort of size, or a bread and butter plate, one of those. So because you can only fit in such a small amount of food, it's actually really difficult to know what to choose on the menu, and also you can't eat and drink at the same time, so managing the timing of your meal is quite difficult too. So I might sort of just start at the beginning. There are a few things that are really good to sort of choose, or ways to choose. With a sleeve, there is no texture that you can't eat. So you can have steak, you can have salad, you could have a sandwich, you could have half a wrap, but the portion is the issue. So if you're fine with choosing a meal and maybe taking some of it home later, go ahead and choose whatever you fancy. If you sort of struggle with the idea of wasting food, or you don't feel like taking it home, or it's not an appropriate sort of restaurant where you can ask to take food home, then there are a few things that you can do. One of them, and the easiest thing I think, is to actually just order from the entree menu. The other thing you could do is just sort of look at ordering, sort of, if you have like little share plates, ordering a share plate just for yourself. Another great option is really just going to places where food is shared amongst the group. So things like Asian, like Thai or Vietnamese, or Indian, or something like tapas, or a lot of the Moros sort of restaurants now do things where you can order half a chicken to share with everybody and a few like salads, and that tends to work really well. A lot of my clients do really enjoy sharing. If you've got a partner, like a husband or a wife, often you can sort of get one main and share a little bit. That tends to work better when you're eating out, say at lunchtime, where you could get a sandwich and you could just have a little bit of the sandwich, or a salad, and you could sort of share it between the two of you. So a few different tips and tricks there. If you're in the stage sort of either of OptiFast or in sort of the soft foods, then things like fish and veggies tend to work really well. But I might talk about before and the OptiFast phase and directly after the surgery a little bit later on in one of these Facebook Live videos. So we might leave that. What I'll sort of aim to talk about at the moment is like what happens when you're down the track a bit further in the long term. So having spoken about the types of things that can work in terms of getting the portion size right, I think it's important that we talk about timing as well. One of the things that is really tricky is that you can't eat and drink at the same time. So what you need to do is work out how to time your drink around your food, especially if it's at an occasion where alcohol is being drunk and you sort of feel like you might stand out a bit if you don't have a glass of wine with your meal. To be honest, most of the time, as long as you have a glass there, people don't really notice whether or not you're drinking it. So it's really just about kind of navigating that social situation so you feel as comfortable as possible and you're not feeling like you're sort of drawing attention to yourself. What I find works really well in terms of timing and having a glass of wine is when you arrive at a restaurant, order a glass of wine. When you order your food, stop drinking, and that'll give you usually sort of 15-20 minutes, maybe even up to half an hour before your meal arrives. So that glass of wine will have had time to go through your stomach and you will have room for your food. Then when your food gets there, take your time with your food, and afterwards just give yourself a break. Usually about 20 to 30 minutes is ideal, and then you can sort of keep going, having a little sip or two of your wine afterwards. But managing that time in between so you're not making yourself feel uncomfortable by eating and then drinking straight afterwards is really, really important. Another thing that you can do is order an entree but get it delivered at the same time as everybody else's mains. And then what you can do with that is if you're having a glass of wine, you can drink up until the time when the entree plates are being cleared from the rest of your table, and then you stop drinking. Your main or your entree, which is coming at the time with the mains, arrives. Eat your main, your entree, and then leave a little bit of a gap before you go back to drinking again. So I hope that's helped. I think it is a bit tricky and it does take a bit of time to sort of get used to eating out, and also getting used to sort of talking around the fact that you're not eating much. Often wait staff are the people that you might need to sort of make comments to, just explain to them, you've had, whatever you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with saying that you've had a surgery and you just can't eat much, then that's great. Sometimes you can just say to the wait staff, look, it was beautiful, but I'm just not hungry, and that's great too. So you will find that you settle into a way of sort of managing those eating out situations, the restaurant situations, and it will get easier and easier as you gain a bit of confidence as well after your surgery. I'd say it takes a few months at least before you sort of really get the hang of it, before you kind of really know what to say in certain situations. It depends on your personality type as well. Some people are completely happy with explaining what they've done. Other people really just feel like that's something that they want to keep to themselves, and that's fine. The best excuse really is to say, when people comment, oh, you're not eating much, is just to say I'm not hungry, because they can't really say anything back to that. If you start talking about, okay, I'm on a diet, or I have this horrible dietitian who won't let me eat anything, often that'll invite a whole big conversation about what you're doing and what your diet is and how much weight have you lost. And if that's not something that you want to get into, then the simplest way to sort of get around that is just to say, look, I'm just not hungry, and that's fine. There's not much else that people can say back to that. So just recapping, few things to try. First of all, things to order from a portion point of view. Either order from the entree menu or order a share plate, and either get it delivered with the entree so you have more time to eat it, or get it delivered with everybody else's main so you can have a glass of wine or something while they're eating their entree. In terms of like sharing food, great places to go to eat things like Asian, so Thai, Vietnamese, Indian, things like tapas, because you can pick and choose exactly what you want out of all of the dishes on the table, or even sharing with a friend or a partner, whoever you're dining with, and just stealing a little bit of food from their plate. And then in terms of timing, you really need to be a bit careful with eating and drinking at the same time. So have your glass of wine first, stop drinking when you order your food. When your food comes, eat it nice and slowly, taking 20 to 30 minutes. And remember, we spoke about eating habits last time, so if you want to go back and watch the video from last week, that sort of explains about those eating habits really well. And then after you've eaten your meal, give it a little break before you go back and have a little bit more of your glass of wine or your drink. Okay, look, I'm more than happy, and I've been saying this every time, I really love answering your questions and trying to make life easier for you, so I hope this has been helpful. Eating out is one of those tricky things for people to get used to when they first have a sleeve, but it is something that just gets easier and easier with time and practice. So if you've got other questions about life after surgery, the process, the surgery itself, what you can and can't eat, maybe it's what to do during the fluid phase or the puree phase, then please feel free to either direct message me or post on my wall on Facebook, or visit livingwithasleeve.com, and there you'll find a Q&A forum, and you'll also be able to sort of sign up for any updates of blogs, and I've got a few free resources there, things like quick lunch ideas that are the right portion size, and that's for both eating out and taking from home, and also top tips for eating with a sleeve, so the things that you really need to concentrate on that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to being successful with your sleeve and feeling comfortable. So I hope that's been helpful. It's been nice to see you all, and I will be back on Facebook Live again on Wednesday. So even if you want to comment on this video and let me know if there's any specific topic you'd like me to cover, I will probably talk you through what we do with OptiFast before the surgery. And then I think I'll do sort of a series going through each of the different stages of the diet around the surgery each week, so that you get a good idea about what to expect over the next 4 weeks or so. Alright, lovely to see you all. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next week. Cheers, bye.